Good evening. This is the regular joint meeting of the Oakley City Council. The Oakley City Council acting as the successor agency to the Redevelopment Agency, the Oakley Public Financing Authority. This meeting is called to order at 6:30 p.m. Will our clerk please call roll?
We skipped over the pledge. I apologize. Councilmember Fuller?
Aye.
Councilmember Shaw?
Here.
Councilmember Williams?
Here.
Vice Mayor Meadows?
Here.
And Mayor Henderson?
Here. Item 1.2, the Pledge of Allegiance. We're going to be assisted by Rita Baker from Village Elementary. If she could come on up to help us. Rita Baker is a fourth grader in the Oakley School District. She enjoys fishing with her dad, plays lacrosse, and likes golf in her free time. Rita loves her Nintendo and enjoys playing Super Mario Brothers and Hello Kitty Island Adventures. Rita loves to read. She is currently enjoying Goosebumps and Snow Sisters. She has two cats, Slimmer and Shine. She loves them very much. She loves to collect Hello Kitty figurines and wears bows. Rita wants to be an artist when she grows up. So we'll turn this over to her.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 1.3, I have a few comments to start 2026 with. Good evening, Oakley. As we gather and welcome a new year, I am reminded of the strengths and resilience and the heart that defines this community. We face challenges as a nation, as a community, and individuals. But here we rise to meet those challenges together and define us. Oakley is more than a city. It's a place that's built on shared purpose, where families grow and neighborhoods look out for each other. I believe leadership means being open. One of my personal challenges is I'm a dyslexic, so I may mispronounce or misspell words as I'm speaking. I ask for your understanding if this happens. I've never ever allowed this to define me or limit my service. I share this to remind anybody facing dyslexia or other disabilities, there's no limit of what you can achieve. This year, as we look forward, we honor people, places, and traditions that shape Oakley. Strengthen the further to make our community unique. A key focus this year ahead is advancing the establishment of the 55-acre park. This project will be a centerpiece for recreation, community gatherings, and open space for generations. We will actively identify funding sources locally, state, and federal to make sure that we build a park that reflects the needs and dreams of our residents. We will also continue the process on Laurel Road Extension to Sellers of vital infrastructure improvements that will ease traffic, support further development, and strengthen the connectivity throughout our city. In 2026, we will reach some exciting milestones as we break ground on the new library, a project that symbolizes learning, imagination, and community connectivity. This library will be a hub for students, families, and longtime learners, offering services to blend tradition to modern innovation. It will be a place where opportunities will expand and where the story for Oakley's future will continue. At the heart of any thriving community is safety. We will continue to prioritize police services, providing resources, staffing, technology necessary to maintain a safe and secure Oakley. Our police department plays a critical role in the quality of life as we remain committed to support our community. They will protect and serve our residents with professionalism and integrity. As we move forward, let's remember the progress that is not all about projects we build. It's about a culture we build together. In coming years, my commitment as mayor is to lead with mutual respect, civility, and decorum. Government functions best when we listen to each other, treat each other with dignity, and work from a foundation with shared purposes other than division. Leadership roots with respect and sets the tone for the entire community. Together, we will hold those values. Oakley, this is our moment. This is our year of opportunity, a year of growth, a year of strength and foundation, honor our heritage, and shape a brighter future. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for your partnership. Thank you for the privilege of serving as your mayor this year. Let's make this year the best year yet. Thank you. Item 4.1, I'd like to have Chief Beard come up and introduce our newest lieutenant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor. Tonight we are celebrating yet one more step in the progress of the Oakley Police Department. 4 years ago, City Manager McMurray and I got together to make determinations on what a fully staffed administrative component of the police department should look like. We obviously need a chief, but we also decided to split the department into two divisions, one being operations and the other being support services. We decided we needed 2 lieutenants to be the commanders of those divisions. Shortly after my appointment, you may recall, we promoted Lieutenant Roberts and Lieutenant Cartwright. One of our lieutenants is now planning his well-deserved retirement, and we wish him well as he moves into his future. But we wanted to make sure that we planned for this change as much as we could, so we actually started working with you, the council, last year during a budget retreat session. In that meeting, we made sure we discussed having a structure and funding in place to temporarily bring a 3rd lieutenant aboard to receive all the proper training one needs before executing that duty. So thank you for your support and guidance as we made those decisions, which has allowed this to happen today. A few months ago, we actually started a promotional process. That process consisted of an external interview panel, a realistic and role-related internal exercise, and an internal interview panel. That promotional process brought us 2 top candidates from within our own ranks. We are quite happy to see that we did have the amount of quality necessary for the role of lieutenant within the Oakley Police Department itself. We did not have to look anywhere else. Years ago, Chief Thorson was the first chief for the Oakley Police Department. He provided me with some good advice back then. He once told me to heavily consider promoting people into higher roles if they are already acting like they are in that role above themselves. Having gone through the promotional process with our candidates and reflecting back on what Chief Thorson had once said, It was decided that Lieutenant Morris would become our next lieutenant, and it's my pleasure to introduce him not only to you, the council, but realizing that this is a public meeting, I take pleasure in introducing him to the community of Oakley, so thank you very much for that. Some background on Lieutenant Morris. He is in his 18th year of law enforcement. He started his career with the Contra Costa Sheriff's Office in 2008. So far in his career, Lieutenant Morris has worked in detention, patrol, investigation, and now administration. Lieutenant Morris is a former SWAT team member, a former field training coordinator, and a former POA president. Lieutenant Morris is also a certified instructor in the disciplines of firearms, defensive tactics, and taser. Lieutenant Morris is also a Medal of Merit recipient due to superior leadership skills he exhibited during a critical and life-threatening incident against our officers and Sheriff's Office officers that occurred a few years ago in Discovery Bay. Lieutenant Morris is a graduate of the Sherman Block Supervisor Leadership Institute. He did so well in that program that they asked him to come back not only as an auditor, but also as a facilitator. Before becoming a lieutenant, Kevin was promoted to the rank of sergeant for us in July of 2021. During his tenure as sergeant, Lieutenant Morris split his time between patrol and most recently investigations. While Lieutenant Morris has been at the helm for our investigations unit, he has supervised a full unit of investigators, and that is something that we couldn't have said a few years ago when I first became your chief. We did not have a full unit of investigators, but because of all the collaborative work we have done over the years, we can now say that. Unfortunately for Lieutenant Morris, having a full cadre of investigators creates a lot more work for him, so he's been very busy for the past few years. Lieutenant Morris also organized the restructuring of the way we manage cases. He facilitated the presence of the Oakley Police Department in several mission-specific task force environments. Specifically, those would be things such as Homeland Security, U.S. Marshals, Secret Service, and internet crimes against children. Lieutenant Morris has streamlined the workflow of our detectives by having each of them handle specific types of crimes versus the more general approach we were previously taking. Lieutenant Morris created an investigations unit manual, and he sat as the head of the department's report writing committee last year. Last week, Lieutenant Morris took some leave to go on vacation with his family. As per the plan, Lieutenant Morris, he got home yesterday. I knew he was getting home yesterday. He even asked me for that day off yesterday so he could spend the time traveling to get back from wherever he was. Yesterday morning, I think we're all pretty well aware that we had a deputy sheriff shot at in our city. I have seen the video of that incident. It was quite a scary incident, and an incident that not only brought the Oakley Police Department to the forefront, but also the Sheriff's Office, Brentwood PD, and the Antioch Police Department. So again, collectively, we're all working together when big things like this happen. I called Lieutenant Morris, believing he was still on the road coming home, because I wanted to brief him to let him know that his unit was about to get involved in some serious stuff, and I know that would impact his workload as he got back into work. To my surprise, Lieutenant Morris had just arrived home right as this incident had happened. So upon me calling him, he said he'd be right into work, and within a half hour, he was in the building and ready to get to work. And just like he's done so many times in his career, Lieutenant Morris came and he started to manage a critical law enforcement action. Lieutenant Morris's efforts were vital to the investigation, and at this point, we're very happy to report the deputy sheriff was not injured in this incident, and the investigation unfolded in the smoothest possible manner it could have. Earlier today, Lieutenant Morris and I met in my office. I asked him what he foresees for himself as he steps into this new role. Lieutenant Morris gave a very well thought out response by saying, and this is a quote, "I want to grow the department in a positive direction through mentorship and community engagement. I also want to make sure I am meeting the demands of the officers, the community, and Cedar leadership in a cohesive fashion." So I think that frame of mind not only shows why Lieutenant Morris is being promoted right now, but it also shows positive steps that we will be taking in the future, both as a department and as an organization and as a community. So I appreciate the opportunity to introduce him. I do not have him queued up to answer any questions, but I will. But I'll receive any kind of comments that you may have or not. So with that, thank you. Okay.
Any comments for the chief? Councilmember Fuller.
Yes, LT, thank you very much for being joining us as a lieutenant. I have a fond affection for our department, for what it's doing, for what it's building on, what is going forward. I'm sorry I missed your swearing in, but my invitation got lost in the mail apparently. But I'm glad to see you here. I'm glad to see you moving forward and stepping high. And I think we're in a good shape. Thank you for continuing on.
Councilmember Williams.
I just want to say congratulations, and you've brought a lot to this force. So we really appreciate everything you're doing, and I love the moving in a positive direction. I think that's exactly what this community expects. So I really appreciate it, and congratulations again.
Councilmember Shaw.
I also just want to say congratulations. I've heard nothing but great things about you internally and externally. I have a lot of friends and family in this world, and I've heard your name many times, and it's all been positive. And it was an honor to be at your swear-in, and again, congratulations.
Vice Mayor Meadows.
Congratulations on the promotion.
Thank you very much, and it was a nice ceremony you put on this afternoon, Chief. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Item number 2, public comment. At this time, the public will be heard on items that are not on the agenda. I have not received any public comments either online or blue cards. Is there anybody wishing to speak in public comment tonight? Seeing none, we'll go to item 3, council members' comments. Councilmember Fuller.
I appreciate the mayor's comments regarding disability and what it means to an individual. He said that everything you can work forward with a disability if you apply yourself. Yes, that is correct. But the atmosphere needs to be one of accommodation and acceptance. To have to fight your way against ageism or ableism or racism is a hard task. There was a person, you can look it up, but I won't identify it now because it's unusual, but said freedom is a constant struggle. It is a constant struggle. We do our here together as a governing body. He was right. We need to be respectful and come about. But that doesn't mean that those in the power determine what goes on necessarily as what is respectable or what is acceptable. In a certain section of our country, back in the 50s and 60s and 70s, when it was very degrading, there were the Jim Crow laws. And people of color were expected to be respectful. And if you didn't get off the sidewalk when a white person was coming, you get knocked on your ass. And a child would probably get yanked across the street. And if you were not, you were being disrespectful. That is not good government. That is fascism, tyranny, however you want to put it. So we all have to come together, but we have to realize what is respectable and what is acceptable. And if somebody criticizes, to be able to come back with other than, oh, you're just an awful person. Thank you.
Seeing not any other council members' comments, we'll move to consent calendar. Before we get to the consent calendar, staff has pulled 4.9 for a future meeting. Are there any items that council members wish to pull?
4.1.
I move approval of the remainder.
Second.
We have a first and a second. We'll have the City Clerk, do roll call.
Councilmember Fuller,
Aye.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Meadows,
Yes.
Mayor Henderson.
Yes.
The motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
4.1, Councilmember Fuller.
Yes, it's the same one. I know Councilmember Meadows will be, or Vice Mayor Meadows will be glad to point out that I voted for this in the past, and again, I still say the same one. I gave it, as far as I'm concerned, gave it a try, and it's not transparent. It is actually hiding decisions and what our basis is. Yes, you can go on YouTube. Yes, you can go on the videos if you happen to have a computer or can get to it. If you have the time to listen through it all, there's a reasons why we have transcripts. So attorneys, if nobody else can read through a trial without having to listen to the entire dialogue and rhetoric. So I will again vote no.
I move approval of 4.1.
Second.
So we have a first and a second for 4.1. Will the clerk do roll call, please?
Councilmember Fuller,
Nay.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Meadows,
Yes.
Mayor Henderson.
Yes.
The motion passes by a vote of 4-1.
Item 5, public hearings. We have none tonight. Item 6, regular calendar. 6.1, approve a resolution approving the change in Cafe Costa meal program for Studio 55. If I could have our Administrative Services Director, Jerry, come up and provide us a staff report.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. Danielle's going to pull up our PowerPoint here real quick. It's a short one, I promise. So back in May 1st, 2025, just to bring everybody where we are today, we opened Studio 55 for our aging community of those 55 plus. On July 1st, 2025, we began serving lunch 4 days per week. And then in December of this year, we were notified by the county that our meals would be reduced. Thank you. So how Cafe Costa works. The lunches are funded by the county, by Contra Costa County, and the county contracts with a vendor who then prepares the meals and delivers them to the city every day. And then the city is the one who serves the participants the meals. So our contract is actually with Contra Costa County. Right now, our monthly average is 409 meals, which is a tremendous number. I know when we first started this, we hoped we'd get 10 a day for lunch, and we are well exceeding that, some days pushing 40 to 45. So it's definitely a need for the community, and it's something that it's been a huge benefit for us to provide. So the total meals served through December, the estimated count is 2452, and that was just because these numbers were given to us mid-December, so we didn't have quite all of the numbers yet. Starting January 1st, those meals were reduced from 409 to 282 monthly. So we had an option to do a daily cap or a monthly cap. We chose the monthly cap because we felt that could serve more of the community. Our daily cap, I think, would have been 17 meals a day, and we think by serving monthly, we would be able to serve more. So we had to figure out a way of what we do with these 127 meals per month, potentially, that we're going to lose out on. So staff has provided just some options. Option one would be the city would fund the difference. Funding anything over the county meal cap is estimated to be about $800 per month. Based off of average numbers, so we don't know what those numbers would really look like, which would be under $5,000 for the rest of the fiscal year. It is noted that we only expect this to last for the end of this fiscal year, and the county expects to fully fund the program again next fiscal year. We can stop serving meals once our cap is reached at the end of each month, and then begin serving again starting the following month with our new cap. Or we can do kind of a combination. The city could set a cap so that our expenditures don't go over a certain dollar amount. So staff recommends that we implement option 1, which would complete fiscal year 25-26 using our general fund contingency. We would not need a budget adjustment. At this time, it's anticipated, like I said, that the program will be fully funded for fiscal year 26-27. The county has told us that already. It's affecting all cities who participate in the Cafe Costa program, so it's not just Oakley who's going through this. And then we have, with the county, part of our agreement is we're not allowed to turn anybody away for meals. And so this kind of, we've been talking with the county about how we handle this if the city is now funding part of the program and the county is not fully funding the program. So what we're asking is that we get to continue to serve those who have participated in the meal program since July of 2025. We do have a mix in that group. We do have a few people from other cities that are not Oakley cities, but they have been part of the program since day one, and we would like them to be able to continue to be part of that program. For new people trying to participate in the program, we would ask that we limit it to only Oakley residents. That way, if we're paying for it, we're only paying for Oakley residents' meals. As I said, other cities surrounding us are losing meals too, and so there's potential everybody's starting to look at other places they can go in order to get those meals. So we're working with the county on how we manage this when our contract says we cannot turn anybody away, but that was before the city needed to fund part of it. So that's kind of it in a nutshell of where we currently are. We would like to continue to serve these meals every day and continue to bring the community together. And with that, I'm available for any questions.
Questions of staff, and that's going to be Councilmember Schaaf.
So the other change was the age. I know we don't have a lot of the residents that are under 60, but if we are paying for it ourselves, do they have the option, or are they still going to be?
So we will still allow them to participate. Yes, we still can give them the option. They're already paying for the meal, so the city technically wouldn't have to pay for the meal because they are paying for the meal. But if the city picks up the other meals, they would be allowed to participate.
Okay, I just didn't want anyone to be excluded under that rule if we are going to be picking up the cost.
Yes.
Thank you.
Councilmember Williams.
Okay, so a couple questions. What is causing this funding gap for the county? Did they give us any insight into that?
I think, when they do their budget, they take estimates of what we expect to serve, of what everybody expects to serve, and I think the need has been greater than what the estimates were. And, our surrounding cities, some of them are serving 100 people a day. So I think the need is just greater than it was anticipated, and so it's just going over budget. They're getting ahead of it early, which is great, and then correcting it next year, and we'll all make sure we estimate. We will have better numbers next year as well. I think our estimate was probably 30 a day, and we were hopeful for that, and our estimate is definitely exceeding that.
I mean, so in theory, the numbers that you had here, like if we have new participants, I think it said 5,000 on that slide for the rest of this fiscal year, if we fund it. In theory, that number could potentially be blown out a little bit, right? Like because we are going to allow new Oakley residents to, okay.
I don't anticipate, this started January 1st, so I'm not sure what other cities are doing yet. I think everybody's trying to figure it out. We got the final numbers right before Christmas, and so I think everybody's, it's the new year, and we're all still trying to figure it out. So we haven't seen, a huge influx of all of a sudden people at Studio 55. So I don't anticipate it changes significantly. Our December estimated numbers, the county estimated, I don't know that they accounted for the 2-week closure. So I think we have some wiggle room also just to have some extra meals too.
Okay, so then what's the possibility? I mean, even though they say that it will be back in fiscal year 27, I know we have a budget retreat coming up. Can we figure out a way to sort of account for if this comes up again, right? Like say everybody is struggling right now. So I think there will potentially be greater needs. So I just want to make sure that we have a plan A, plan B, plan C that we can go through because this is such an important feature, right? Like all the research shows that having community meals together. And so, I mean, I know we're not to the discussion part of it, but that's why I like option one. I would hate for anybody to come thinking they're getting a meal and we've met the cap, or, I mean, I'm sure you would give them more notice, but it still feels fairly cruel. So, yeah, so I wonder if we can at least come up with some contingency plans of, okay, if this happens again, or if midway through next year, they're like, oh shoot, you guys are, everybody has a greater need, then at least we will have a plan so that we don't have to have people worrying about it as well.
Got it. Thank you.
Councilmember Fuller.
Yes, first, I thank you for the initiative, and staff for the initiative of grasping a hold of this and not having to pause the program until we came up with a solution. So I appreciate that. A little bit off the subject, but how many people, if you can, have renewed?
Troy, do you have that number? It's 186 have renewed and paid for the membership.
That's a pretty good percentage. Yes. I want to also commend Mr. Falk. He has done quite a job with making it a enjoyable experience to have lunch at Studio 55, and I thank them.
Thank you.
That's all the questions we have at this point. I do not have any public comment online. Is there any public comments? If not, I'll bring it back to council for discussion or a motion.
I move approval of option one.
Second.
Any further discussion? We have a first and a second. I'll call for the vote from the clerk.
Councilmember Fuller,
Aye.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Meadows.
Yes.
Mayor Henderson.
Yes.
The motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
We move to item 7, report, city manager's report.
Good evening, City Council. I do not have any reports for tonight, and our business license list for the month of December has been attached to the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 7.2, council members' reports, liaison reports. Councilmember Fuller.
Yes, I had the opportunity to tune in to Congressman de Saulnier's midday town hall. He went over some rather touchy subjects: Venezuela, Minnesota. I could go on with all the things that he touched base, but basically the message was, and not surprisingly from him, that the rule of law within our country is dissolving, and Congress and others really don't know quite how to resolve it, other than we've resolved it in the past, but we have a different direction in Washington at this time.
Councilmember Shaw.
Since our last meeting, I attended the Safeway ribbon cutting on December 10th. We also had a library committee meeting, but I'm going to combine that report with another one we had a bit later. On the 12th, we did a tour of East Cypress Progress. It's great to see all the work that's been done. I appreciate everything the staff has done, and allowing us to go out there and take a look at as it's been going along. It's been something I've been able to use that experience to relay to the residents the work that's been happening, so I really appreciate those. On the 12th, I had an e-bricks meeting, nothing new to report there. On the 14th was the Rotary Toy and Food Drive. Amazing turnout, probably the smoothest drive that we have been able to do to date, and we have been contacted by some other organizations that want to partner with us, which I think is amazing. So it's getting a lot of traction, and a lot of residents were helped. On the 15th, the Angel Tree distribution, which is now one of my new favorite things to do, so I would like to continue on that. I attended the city staff holiday party on the 18th. On the 19th, I was invited to come speak to the Girl Scout troops of both Brentwood and Oakley to kick off the start of inspiring them to sell cookies and what leadership and volunteerism looks like. On the 6th, we had our second library committee meeting. Some of the things that we have been discussing, just so we can keep the council updated and the public, analyzing access at the library to help with potential cut-through traffic is something that the consultants and staff is looking at. We were also presented some potential options for reconfiguring the amphitheater, which would include a new band shell. That is in the works, and staff is working out the logistics on that and what that might look like. We discussed landscaping, adding additional trees to provide additional shade, not just at the library, but our whole area down here downtown. Talked about integration of art, maybe some learning opportunities with either watershed or recycled water, something I'm hoping that we can include some of our special districts in if that's something they're interested in. And we have been discussing dates to firm up the dates for the community engagement, and staff should have those dates by the end of this month. So those are some updates on where we are at with the library. On the 8th, I did go to the Contra Costa Mayor's Conference, but I know Councilmember Williams was there and she likes to report, so I'll let her do that. This morning, the reorganization lunch for Contra Costa County Supervisor Diane Burgess, who is now the chair of the Contra Costa County Supervisors, and this afternoon, the swear-in of our newest lieutenant. So that was it.
Councilmember, Vice Mayor Meadows.
Since our last meeting, I attended the Safeway ribbon cutting. Great to finally see Safeway open here after 25 years. I attended the staff holiday party. Last week was mayor's conference. Today I also attended the reorganization lunch for the Board of Supervisors with Dan Burgess becoming chair. And then this afternoon, evening, swearing in of our newest lieutenant.
Councilmember Williams.
Since our last meeting, I attended the Safeway ribbon cutting, which is an amazing addition to our community, a ton of local jobs, so very excited about that. The tour of East Cypress Road, which has a ton of progress, and I really hope the residents get to feel that soon. It was really inspiring, so I really appreciate the staff taking us to see all the hard work that's been done there. I also got to do the angel tree gift distribution. Very fun. We met some really interesting characters who were very grateful for everything that they had, everything that people got for them. So we loved that. Went to the staff holiday party. That was super fun. I did meet with some union members who had some concerns, questions about the PLA agenda ask, so I'm going to come back to that. Went to the mayor's conference. We did have a presentation because I do like to report. So we had a presentation from MDRR talking about their program, Community Impact Through Material Reuse. It's a program that 2 times a year, residents are able to leave items that still have a useful life on the curb for pickup. Over 36,000 households participated. Over 2.4 million pounds were collected and donated. So interesting program. Hopefully we'll get to hear more from MDRR about how that can benefit our city. I was voted in as chair of the mayor's conference. This afternoon, I attended Lieutenant Morris's swearing in before this meeting.
Thank you. And since our last meeting, I attended a ribbon opening of Safeway, the staff appreciation holiday party. We did have 2 library subcommittee meetings. I was able to go to the Sharks when they came to Oakley on Ice. Staff did a nice job of bringing that in, and I think the community really enjoyed seeing that come there. I was at the Board of Supervisors reorg this morning and the swearing in. That'll take us to 7.2B, future agenda items. Councilmember Williams.
Okay, so as I mentioned, I met with some union members who had some concerns about the PLA ask, and so I would like to just talk about how we can incorporate this. So they were really concerned about local hire goals not always being in a PLA agreement, along with apprenticeship pipeline and reporting requirements. So the reason I'm even bringing this up is because when I was speaking to them, I want to make sure that the information we get is very, very complete and sort of analyzes all of that stuff. And I know I've been through a couple different boards who have had this PLA meeting, and we haven't gotten as into the weeds on that. So I want to make sure that we're being true to what the whole point of it is to make sure that we're able to hire folks who are in our community. So because of that ask, I realize that I'm asking for a lot more research and all of that stuff. So I do want to make sure that the staff feels like they have enough time to work on that. I think my whole point of this is that I want to make sure that we balance the workload and that it doesn't come back premature without all of that stuff sort of in the work session. So that was just one of the things that I wanted to ask for that. So I just don't want that item coming back even for a work session until we have some of that. We have pros and cons and all of the information that we need for both of that. So I just wanted a timeline, a reality timeline on that to say we have to put enough information into this to be worthy of the conversation.
Because that was a follow-up on the second of a previous,
I think he was going to recognize me.
sorry.
I had a comment. I am offended by Councilmember Williams' rhetoric and discourse. I mentioned it the last time. We should not be discussing all this up on the dais without an open meeting and making parameters. The fact that she's saying that she's going to receive bogus information and she wants to make sure only casts a cloud over PLAs to begin with, that there are going to be people up here misleading them and misleading us and the city in regards to PLAs, and we have to be ready for that. I do believe we come together on a work session if there's any furthers, but this continual comments in blanket that we have to do it a certain way, and Williams is saying we have to agree to that, is again a misuse of power and misuse of legislative intent. We should not be discussing it until the PLA is up here. When the PLA is up here, bring it up. But again, I'm offended that she believes there will be people coming forward to the podium misleading us on PLAs. We have no reason to believe that.
Councilmember Williams.
Okay, that wasn't what my point was, so I'm going to withdraw the second for now until we can get more research.
Okay. Moving to item 8, work session, we have none. Item 9, closed session of 9. Item 10, we'll adjourn this. There's no further business, and this meeting's adjourned. Good night.